In 1974, Austrian saxist Hans Koller and German pianist Wolfgang Dauner assembled a multinational all-star jazz rock cast for the super project Kunstkopfindianer, and from that album, the track "Na." That's quite an otherworldly keyboard sound right there. Not what you would expect from a guy who had been known mostly as a pianist, but here he's really stretching out. He's playing piano, electric piano synthesizer, and Nagoya Harp. I wonder if we'll hear that here. And that, of course, is the rather fluid tone of Hans Koller on saxophone, and kicking up rhythmic debris right there is Polish drummer Janusz Stefański. Hearing a little bit diamondy tinkle on the Fender Rhodes. Like glowing gems in the water. Sparkling, I should say. The double bass is by Adelhard Roidinger. Wolfgang Dauner is definitely the guy who's dominating this track. We've heard like, what, 4 different sounds from him already? Now he's giving us this distorted organ sound, or distorted, like electric piano, distorted tone, kind of slightly fuzzy sounding. Listen to him tear that organ piano instrument up. Yeah, leave a comment. Is that like a Fender fed through an effects pedal, or is it like an organ setting under a certain setting? What if you can identify the make or model of what he's playing right there, producing that sound? Leave a comment. Hans Koller just finally said, okay, enough is enough. I'm taking over. It's like kicking up debris. It's like Hans Koller is just standing his ground as everything else just is a bunch of flying, dusty, it's almost like he's standing his ground in the middle of a tornado. This seems to have become like well, I guess it's like a four-man show, you could say, because I'm hearing that the double bass is basically just providing the backbone here, but okay, it's like a three-man show with the support of double bass. You could say like Hans Koller is just totally filling up the middle just with his billowing, lines, and then the Janusz Stefański is just kicking up dust all left all around him, and Wolfgang Dauner is like trying to like regain the he's trying to like wrest it away from Hans Koller at this point. It's like he was leading for like the first few minutes, and yeah, we've basically got three lead instruments, and the drum being one of the lead instruments here. In fact, we don't really have so much a rhythmic component here. We've got the bassist filling up the sonic space somewhat, making it sound fuller. His double bass runs are definitely giving it a fuller overall sound. And at this point, Wolfgang Dauner, who's kind of fallen into the background, is also helping to fill things out. If anything, it's Stefański who's really pushing this ensemble to the limit. He's the one really guiding and spurring things on. It's interesting. This track is credited to Adelhard Roidinger, the bassist, who isn't really taking the most prominent role. It's interesting how he would like basically conceive the framework of the track and then basically tell the other guys, or at least three of them, take it away. That warm, fuzzy keyboard tone is back. Wow, that was quite a sonic windmill there. My only disappointment about it is that I didn't hear Zbigniew Seifert on this track at all. Um, Maybe he just was only on some of the other tracks. Here's another track from the album, Adea. I'm wondering if we're going to hear him here. Overall, a bit more of a moody track, kind of a dark alley vibe is forming, smoke billowing under, in dark through dark alleyways and or maybe scratch that. This could easily just be walking through the woods in the dark, walking through the forest. It could be walking through any place kind of outside in the dark. With like the whites of eyes, reflecting in the dark, or where all you can see is like silhouetted creatures and the whites of their eyes. Okay, we've got some really fluid sax work going amid some, like, some pretty thick kind of. Slightly rupturing Fender tones. And the bass, this time electric bass, is really, really fluid. Really, I would say is taking much kind of more of a lead. Yeah, we've basically got three lead players here. We've got, once again, Stefański on drums, just playing, the heck out of his entire big setup. We've got Adelhard Roidinger, who's taking much more of a lead role on the electric bass this time, just throwing, filling it up with all kinds of notes. And we've got Hans Koller with his, fluid, uncontainable tones. And we've got Wolfgang Dauner just kind of at selective intervals, throwing in some kind of sustained keys here and there for added sound effect and texture and nuance. There, finally, Zbigniew Seifert. Polish violin extraordinaire, about to become really big in the next few years. Piercing the sky. Well, I'm hearing a couple of really fuzzy, smoldering tones right here. One on this side, one on this side. Okay, I think we've reached the moment where Wolfgang Dauner has said, okay, you guys, I'm taking over here. I guess Wolfgang Dauner is doing a double-handed thing because I'm hearing some notes over here, some fuzzy kind of sustained keys, and then I'm hearing more of these staccato keys up here, more higher in the mix. Zbigniew Seifert would get a bit more confident as the years went on, like in the later 70s. I get a feeling like he's trying to play nice with the guys. I mean, he had a pretty good spotlight earlier on there, but he didn't really quite like take over in a major way. Like, but then again, there hasn't been as much of that in this track as there was in the other track, where it really was like three or four of them at any given time, constantly just dueling it out. With just each of them taking their skills to the limits. Here everyone's a bit more laid back. Here's an interesting moment. Seifert is kind of creating these sort of walls of violin sound on this side, but even though he's kind of low in the mix at this point, Hans Koller is really playing quite. Yeah, he's. Or he was just before I last hit pause. It's kind of funny how I'll like describe something I'm hearing, and then the moment I resume, it's gone. And it seems as we just kind of fade out, as everyone, kind kind of crawls away. Adelhard Roidinger is the last man standing. That was Kunstkopfindianer, the jazz rock free jazz supergroup of multinational talent. Austrian saxophonist Hans Koller, German pianist Wolfgang Dauner, a Polish drummer Janusz Stefański, German bassist Adelhard Roidinger, and Polish rising star violinist Zbigniew Seifert, released in 1974 on the MPS label. And it's also Kunstkopfindianer is the name of the album. In some media, it has been, that name has also been credited, been used as the name of the band. In other media, the album is credited to either all 5 of the players individually, which is rather cumbersome, or it's simply credited to Koller and Downer, the 2 main architects of the 2 guys who assembled it. Anyway, yeah, incredible music from 5 incredibly singular talents brought together. And I could say it's greater than the sum of their parts, but no, I would actually say that each are firmly holding their ground and showing the utmost of their talent, kind of at times challenging each other to go beyond each of their own limits, but really just kind of holding their own ground, but doing so in a semi-cohesive ensemble form. For more rubies and sapphires from the Kunstkopfindianer album and other German-Austrian supergroups of the jazz rock persuasion, see the directory of albums by German artists linked in the description below, and the directory of albums by artists from landlocked Europe. And like and subscribe, follow me on social media, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the 2 tracks we heard, if you were able to identify certain sounds and their sources a bit better than I was able to during this video. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-travel trimaximalist, signing off.